Good morning, everyone. So, my name is Sunil Kaul, and from AIST Japan. I'm very excited today as I'm here in my own university, where I carried out my MPhil and PhD degree studies from 1982 to 88 under Professor G.R. Sapra. So, just to introduce myself, I know myself best as a martial artist specializing in Taekwondo since my school days in Darjeeling and all years spent in Delhi University along with MPhil and PhD studies, and I have continued my passion till today. So that's the latest one this year on the right hand side. So this is the latest one. So that starts from 1978 to 22. Okay. So a very strong memory that I want to share from my PhD days in Delhi University, Department of Zoology. So I often used to take time off from my PhD research and go out and give a self-defense training to JNU, Lady Evening College, and so many other places. And one day, when I came back to lab, and my supervisor, Professor Sapra, caught me, and then he said, either you decide one, either do martial art or do PhD. And then, next morning, this picture came out in the newspaper, all newspaper, handshaking with Sri Rajiv Gandhi ji, and then my son called me again and said, okay, you can continue both. And so that motivated me for doing so many things, like I could establish Delhi University Taekwondo Club, Delhi State Taekwondo Association, Delhi University Researchers Association. We represented to the then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi for increasing our scholarships. That was very too less that time. And then also run Delhi University Jubilee Hall Students Union as a General Secretary. And that is a picture with the Professor late M.G.K. Menon. And that's there, Dr. Sapra there. So thank you, Dr. Sapra, for allowing me to do all this. Now, so I spent 7 years almost in Delhi University here, and a lot of beautiful memories, and today is my honor to stand here and welcome you for INCD Dialogue Picnic. So Dr. Alok and team, you have all our appreciation to make this happen in Delhi University. So I'm sure you all know about INCD. It enjoys the esteemed leadership of several world-renowned scientists who have lifetime experience in basic and applied research in molecular biology, biotechnology, disease therapeutics, and some facts about nutraceuticals. So India is a global leader of nutraceutical market, and the $4.5 billion in 2023 is expected to go to 18 billion by 2025. And the post-COVID pandemic era has further increased this demand, where there is a need for prevention and therapy. So, in contrast to pharmaceuticals, we know nutraceuticals are much more friendly, less expensive, safer, and preventive as well. So, in the current population demographics, where we are seeing old age population increasing exponentially, and stressed populations and healthcare system are getting structurally stressed, there is a compelling need to promote nutraceuticals and nutraceutical research. So especially the attributes that are known as not disease, such as aging, stress, do not need drugs, but if we can intervene then with nutraceuticals, we can increase a lot of burden on the drug development and healthcare system. So just a quick note to say that in vitro cell culture system have been providing a powerful research tool, and we know that many landmark discoveries have been made by using this cell culture in vitro system and then in vivo working on rodents. So I've been working on the molecular mechanism of stress, aging, and cancer all these years, And in my research as well, using cell culture, Renu and I have discovered two proteins named morphine in 1993 and CARB in 2000. And both of these play a major role in stress and cancer, and hence we were looking for inhibitors. That's how we made nutraceuticals. And there are several natural resources my lab has been working on, and we are best known by our research on ashwagandha. So we have shown through our experiments that ashwagandha leaves have anti-cancer activity, and it belongs to more than one component. These components segregate in alcoholic and water extract. Consuming crude extract or just a leaf powder is better, as it would give you more prevention, multimolecular prevention. So we also showed that mechanism of selective cancer cell killing activity, not only that, but also showed that there is a side effect from the components of ashwagandha which protects normal cells. This is in sharp contrast to chemotherapeutic drugs that are extremely toxic to normal cells. We also showed that ashwagandha vithanolides causes anti-COVID activity. The receptors TMPRSS2 and ACE2 both are decreased in response to ashwagandha, and hence inhibition of infection was predicted. Now, in real PCR, antiviral assays, ashwagandha caused 90% of inhibition, whereas remdesivir was 99.7%, as this experiment was done in collaboration with Regional Center for Biotechnology, India. And this was reported in all the news as early as 2020, May, when pandemic had started. Now, we are AIC India International Lab with several sister labs in India, including IIT Delhi, IIT Guwahati, Guru Nanak Dev University, Manipal University, Sikkim University, and so on. So we host a spectrum of education and training programs. Our Cafe Plus and workshops are popular. All information is available if you click DILAB in Google's. Now, we as the DILAB team have been associated with INCD since its conception. We have been holding sessions called Picnic. This is the one in Goa, and this is the second INCD. This one in Rishikesh. Ganga Puja and Aarti Puja, we have a strong memory. Our members are sitting just right in front in the Ganga Puja. And this one is in Guwahati, which was organized by Professor Ajay, and such a lovely place and cultural experience. And here we are today at the INCD. And in today's session, there are 6 speakers from different INCDs, different DILABs. So, without taking much time, I would like to invite the first speaker, Dr. PL1 Wadhwa. She had so while you can set up the computer, I can just introduce her first. So, yes.
Call upon all the chairpersons first.
Okay.
So thank you, sir, for your kind words and information about the different parameters of the nutraceutical and the chronic disease, and explaining about the different agents and therapeutic agents about the aging and stress. Now I would like to call upon the second chairperson of the conference, is the Professor B.B. Agarwal. So Professor B.B. Agarwal is a founding director. His current affiliation is in Informative Research Center, San Diego, California, USA. His area of research is in cytoskeleton research, molecular therapeutics, cell and molecular growth regulations. He has done his PhD in the biochemistry from the University of California, Berkeley. Rinson Home designation professors of the Experimental Therapeutics and the Cancer Research Institute from the Biochemistry and the Immunology Department. He has invited reviews and book chapters. He has introvascular and the introventors on the over 33 patents. He has more than 13,000 citations. He has the chief of the cytoskeleton research section in the Department of the Experimental Therapeutics at the University of the Texas and the Anderson Center in the Texas. We welcome you, sir. Now we have our third chairperson for the day is Professor Anju Katyal. Professor Anju Katyal is a designated professor in the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Center for the Biomedical Research, North Campus, University of Delhi, India. Her area of interest in the immunopathogenesis, mechanism of disease, cerebral malaria, cerebral ischemia, and the cerebral hypoxia. She had done a PhD in the parasite immunology from the Postgraduate Institute of the Medical Education and the Research, Chandigarh, in 1983. She is a visiting scientist in Department of Biology, Georgia State University, Georgia, Atlanta, in 2012. She is invited to deliver a lecture at a symposium like the legacy of the nitrous oxide to commemorate the 100 years of nitric oxide currently. She is a member secretary in the Institute for Animal Ethics Committee from 2002 till 2013. She is a reviewer member of the scientific journals. She has achieved a BST Young Scientist Award also. She has 59 international research publications and more than 1,000 citations. Thank you, ma'am, for coming here. All welcome you. I just request all the chairpersons to preside these sessions.
Okay, so let me invite the first speaker, Dr. PL1 Wadhwa. She had a first PhD from Guru Nanak Dev University and second from University of Tsukuba, Japan. First postdoc from University of Newcastle upon Tyne and some time in CCMB Hyderabad, and then postdoc in Japan. And then she moved to industry for 7 years and then came back to National Institute of Advanced Industrial Science and Technology, AIST, where she is a prime senior scientist and also heading the lab. We call it as International Laboratory Dye Lab. And with this, she has been awarded with several fellowships from international and publications. So with these few words, I would like to invite Renu on this.
If you allow me to share, right, this is the right, okay, good morning everyone, and first of all, thank you organizers, Alokji and the team for allowing us to have this picnic here, Series 43, and the title of my presentation, as you see on the screen, is not really a very pleasant one. We are talking about stress and aging, but I guess if we deal with our fear and we're scares, it's better off later on, right? So I'd like to start with the contents of my talk, and to begin with, just to remind you that these two phenomena, we are talking about aging and stress, they are indispensable. There is rather no escape from these. For we need to learn how to deal with this in a pleasant and a nicer way, non-toxic way, and that's this whole meeting is about. So I like to remind you that the cell culture system provides a very powerful way to understand the mechanisms of stress and aging, and just like as we age, we stress, our cells in culture also show stress and aging in terms of their whole physiology, metabolism changes. And we know that these areas are the priority research for the reason that the demographics of aging and stress, they are moving towards about scary thresholds. The healthcare systems will be on alert, they are already on it, so we need to find a nicer and cooler ways of dealing with these very indispensable phenomena. Now, reminding you, my lab also has been working on stress, aging, and cancer together with these. Just to remind you here that cancer is something which is very closely related with age. As you go beyond 50, 60 years of age, you see the increased incidence of cancer. Similarly, in the cell culture system, as the cells age, they have more probability of getting cancerous. Now, this is just for people who are not doing cell culture research. This is how the cells look like. The normal cells, they will age and look like aging here, in the culture dish. And the cancer cells, on the other hand, they can go on forever. Using this system over last, more than 3 decades, our lab, Sunil and myself, we've been working in Japan on these, research problems. We have been able to discover a protein first in 1993. We named it as morlin, and the second protein discovered by our group is called CARF, and both of these are now known to enhance carcinogenesis. They play a role in human carcinogenesis, and that's the reason we, as Sunil also said, we've been looking for inhibitors of morlin and CARF. Just a brief CV of morlin. From 1993 onwards, we've been able to show several, roles that morlin play at cellular, at the animal levels. I just made this little CV slide for its working professions, likes and dislikes. So I'm not elaborate my talk on morlin today, but just as a summary slide, what we understand about morlin's role during stress, aging, and cancer is right here. It's a stress family protein, HSP70 family protein. As we age or as cells age, morlin decrease. And this decrease itself is a stress for the cells. And the cells try to adapt to it by putting morlin on the higher levels, but they forget where to stop. So morlin goes beyond threshold levels, bring the cells to cancerous phenotype. So that's all we know in 30 years of research, and each of these steps is published as a molecular mechanism in several papers. So today I'm going to elaborate on the second protein, CARF, and this was cloned as a binding partner of a tumor suppressor protein called ARF by yeast 2 hybrid screening. Early on we knew that if we put extra copies of CARF in cells, they give stronger growth arrest. You see the cells which have ARF, they are reduced colony size and colony number, and if they have CARF and ARF together, you have a stronger growth arrest. So then we also looked at role of CARF in senescence or aging. Replicative senescence, as you all know, as the cells are dividing in cell culture dish, they undergo replicative senescence, they stop dividing, and during this phenomena, CARF goes up, as it's seen here. And if you stress-induce aging in cells, CARF also increases. And on the other hand, if you put CARF extra copies into the cells, they also undergo senescence, showing that CARF has a role in stress, and it puts the cells into growth arrest or aging. Now, you would imagine if CARF has that sort of function, if we knock down CARF or silence CARF, or if we take CARF away from the cells, would cells divide more? So we did this experiment. As you see here, the CARF siRNA put the cells into apoptosis. It did not allow cells to divide more, but induce apoptosis in cells. What does it say? It says it's an essential protein. If you take it away, the cells will die by apoptosis. So this elaborated our experiments further. I'm going to show you here how the CARF knockdown cells undergo apoptosis. These are the normal guys here, and if you have CARF knockdown cells here, you would see that they will burst into apoptosis as in the culture dish. This is apoptosis sign. So we had gone further into these to define the mechanism of apoptosis. You see normally the cells would divide, the chromatids are formed, then the cells are getting into the daughter cells here. But if you have CARF siRNA therein, you watch here, there is no division happening here. The cells are staying there as condensed stage, and there is entering into apoptosis. So this defined that calf is an essential protein, and if you take it away, the cells die because of apoptosis. Now, this was really, really confusing for a couple of years when we were trying to work out the mechanism of apoptosis, and my postdoc Caroline, she put the expression level of CARF into the cells like super expression and overexpression. When she made the cells with the overexpression, as expected, CARF overexpression put the cells into growth arrest. That's here. But she noticed when the cells have super expression of CARF, these guys are not entering growth arrest. They are reverting their phenotype. They are entering into cellular transformation. You see increased number of colonies here. So this really confused us that how the over and super expression of the same protein put the contrasting phenotype into the cell. So we went further. You see the overexpression. You see the super expression here. And you see the signaling here is reversed. With overexpression, P53 is going up and P21, which is a growth arrest inducing protein, is going up. But the super expression is reversed. So this was an incredible thing to resolve, and we have gone further to resolve it into the DNA damage pathways, growth arrest pathways, and you see the signalings or markers are reversed between overexpression and stress expression. So let me remind you here, let me recall what I said. CARF is a stress protein. If you induce into the cells are stressed, they're entering growth arrest. But if it is overexpression, it goes beyond the growth arrest. It actually gets cancerous, which tells you too much of stress may lead to cancerous phenotype. The cells would not keep on dying and keep on growth arresting. They would move further, they would get into more proliferative stage. So we wanted to validate that phenotype, and Raj Kalra, another postdoc and staff member in my team, he looked at the databases and found that most of the malignant cancers, they have super high level of expression of CARF. So he went on checking this in the cellular system. He made CARF overexpressing and super expressing cells. Here I'm showing the super expression, and if you did that, the cells were increased in their migration, they were becoming more metastatic. So this is all published data, so I'll go quickly over it. So the cells which are now super expressing CARF, they have more mesothelial markers. They are enhancing their EMT signaling, and you know how EMT signaling is closely related to metastasis. Now, we took those metastatic cancers in the cells, and then after establishing that super expression is associated with malignant phenotype, we also wanted to validate by knocking it down. And here you see when CARF is silenced here, the signaling is actually reversed. So you can actually reverse the EMT by CARF siRNA, not only at the cell level but also at the mouse level. Super expression of CARF leads to bigger tumors, and if you knock down siRNA, tumors are regressed to this level. There is absolute no growth. You see the red curves here. There is absolute no growth of the tumors there. And we also did the metastatic, lung metastatic cases where CARF siRNA put it into the adeno-oncolytic virus, completely inhibited metastasis. So just summarizing further, we've also gone further looking for the microRNAs, not only siRNA, and we showed that the microRNAs which target CARF also cause tumor suppressor at the cellular level and at the animal levels too. So what we have shown over the years about this protein playing role in stress, aging and cancer is, it is the crucial level of CARF expression. It is the threshold of CARF which determines the proliferative fate of cells, either entering apoptosis or going beyond and getting malignant transformation. So I showed you the link between stress and cancer. Raj went further and he wanted to prove really CARF is induced by stress, and if different levels by stress itself, your cells might be either dying or they may be transforming into cancerous phenotype. So he took about 16 models of stress, chemical models of stress here listed, and used the cell culture system. This is also published, and what we find out by this experiment is the stress types that do not change CAF level, do not change the proliferative phenotype. The stress levels that increase the CAF level put your cells to growth arrest like this, premature aging. And the stress type which cause super expression of CAF actually make your cells cancerous. So there is a strong message here. If you stress the cells too strong, you are actually making them to cancerous phenotype. He actually looked at the proliferative capacity of cells. Here I'm giving one summary slide that the control cells were like as you expect the control. The stress levels to the level when the CAF after recovery stays at a bit high level, they are growth arresting, they are entering senescence, and the stress types and the levels, CAF levels, which are staying higher after recovery, they make the cells malignantly transform. So what I'm trying to say is that the stress has a very close relation with your cancer or carcinogenesis. Now this is where we meet nutraceuticals. You want to intervene CAF expression levels to the levels that they stay or they are inhibited, and you want to stop them going to super high levels. And one of the examples, as Sunil showed, we've been working on lots of natural resources. Ashwagandha has taken a lead last few years, but we are working in parallel many others. Soya sapitinol is one of them, and we show that it inhibits CAF, and when it does so, you can use it as a tumor suppressor natural molecule. The other one is cucurbitacin B, which is there in bitter cucumber. Goya we call it in Japanese, and Karela we call it in Hindi. So cucurbitacin and Vidanone. Vidanone comes from ashwagandha. We published that cucurbitacin B and Vidanone combination is super tumor suppressor activity, and it is highly useful for tumor suppression. So like this, Sunil also showed this slide to tell you guys that we work together and we share slides. And modeling and CAF have been the subject of our team with the great collaborations with Dr. Sundar, Dr. Ajay who are here. We've been pouring in bioinformatics, we've been pouring in molecular dynamics, looking at the target molecules and looking at the activities of several natural compounds and nutraceuticals. So intervention by nutraceutical is a great idea, and we know its value already. And I showed you today our work from CAF. It increases during stress, it puts you to premature aging if it is high, and if it is super high, it causes carcinogenesis or tumorigenesis. I think this is my last slide, and I do want to say thank you to the whole team of DILAB in Japan and the satellite sister labs in IIT Delhi, IIT Guwahati, Guru Nanak University. Dr. Pati is also here, and this collaboration over a decade, last 1 decade, has done a great work for us and for developing knowledge on these lines. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Renu. So the topic is open for 1 or 2 quick questions. Any questions? Any comments you have? Yes.
Thank you, ma'am, for a good presentation. So, what is the level? What do you see is the level which is super and overexpression?
Great question, great question. So, what I've been talking about is the cellular system. We've been trying to define like how many picomoles or nanomoles of CAF would be defined as normal, and how many of these as a overexpression and superexpression which will link to carcinogenesis. It's an extremely difficult question because different cell types, different cell lines have their own threshold. So it's a relative what you're talking about. So when we are saying normal cells, your threshold will be different, and as compared to some other cell types as well. So it's very difficult to say a threshold. We try to work on it, see what is the threshold which will be defined as stress inducing. So that's something we are working on. Great question.
Any other comments or questions? Yes, please.
Good morning. It's a great presentation. My name is.
Please repeat. I couldn't get your question. Is that Satvi? Yes. Yes. Okay. Go ahead, please.
So, can you please comment on the expression levels of this protein in different types of cell lines? Mainly, I'm interested in adipocytes, fat cells.
In what cells?
Fat cells.
We haven't looked at fat cells at all. What have you looked at is the different type of cancer cell lines, stressed cell lines, and the normal cell lines. So once again, if you're asking me the absolute levels of CAF, I wouldn't be able to say. You have to take one cell line to see what's normal, you stress it, what's, becomes higher, and if you keep stressing it, it becomes super high. So, in other words, I don't know.
So, is this protein ubiquitous?
Yes. Somebody has to do it.
Yes, please.
It remains within the cell.
It is not excreted. It goes from nucleus to cytoplasm, that we know for sure. We do not know if it will be excreted if you have extremely malignant cancer cells. There is a possibility.
Yeah, because it may affect the innocent
Sure.
bystanders.
It is. It's clearly a question. I need next generation to work on it.
Okay, so we move on to the next speaker.
You have a question. Go ahead.
Very nice presentation.
Thank you.
I just want to know, maybe I didn't hear, is what kind of stress that you're giving?
We used 16 kinds of chemical models of different stresses. Pollution, smoke, metal, temperature. So we used 16 models. I showed one of the slides.
Thank you.
Thank you once again, Renu. And I move on to the next speaker. So I would like to request Professor Agrawal to introduce the second speaker.